They say love is patient, love is kind. They don't tell you love can also be a quiet rope that wraps around your dreams until they are no longer yours. My name is Isabella Morgan, and I graduated top of my class in medicine, holding a master's degree that once smelled of promise and late-night coffee. When I met Henry, I was finishing my final year of residency. He was tall, charming, with a laugh that felt like warm sunlight on winter skin. He told me he admired strong women, women with ambition. At least, that's what he said when we dated. He took me out on drives after my long shifts, bought me cheap pizza I'd eat in the car, and kissed me on the forehead, saying, "I'm so proud of you, Dr. Morgan." I believed him. We got married in a small ceremony at the city courthouse. I wore a simple white dress with blue flats. He wore a gray suit and couldn't stop smiling. I thought life was about to begin, that the sacrifices of sleepless nights and grueling rotations were finally worth it. I didn't know they were only beginning. It started small, as all prisons do. "Babe, do you really need to take that on-call weekend? We barely see each other. I just want to spend more time with you. You're always so tired. Maybe you can work part-time when we have kids." I wanted to argue, but the way he said it, so softly, so lovingly, made it sound like caring. So I told my supervisor I would consider fewer rotations. Just for a while. We moved to a quieter town, 2 hours away from the teaching hospital where I was to complete my specialization. Henry had gotten a promotion, and we needed to settle down. I was supposed to find a position at the local clinic while I completed certification transfer, but the calls I made went unanswered, and Henry told me, "It's okay, Izzy, we're fine financially, just rest for now." So I rested. I folded his clothes, prepared his meals, watched as my friends posted on social media about their first published research, their surgical cases, their first homes bought with their own income. I told myself my time would come. When I found out I was pregnant with Liam, Henry was ecstatic. "This is the best thing that could happen to us," he said, spinning me around in our kitchen. I smiled, but deep inside, I wondered if I was ready to give up everything. When I mentioned returning to work after maternity leave, he kissed my forehead and whispered, "We'll see." And when Liam was born, the days blurred into endless feedings, diaper changes, and Henry's constant travels for work. He said he was working hard for us, and I believed him. 3 years passed, Liam was starting preschool, and I was itching to return to work. "Izzy, why would you go back now? We're fine, Liam needs you." "Henry, I need this, I need to practice. I studied for years." "Are you saying being a mother isn't enough for you?" His voice wasn't kind this time. I went silent. The next morning, he apologized, brought me flowers, and kissed me softly, but he didn't say I could go back. My old classmates sent me messages about positions opening, research collaborations, conference speaking slots. I made excuses. "Oh, I'm focusing on family now. Oh, maybe next year." But every night, I would sneak into the spare room, pull out my textbooks, and study under the soft light of a table lamp while Henry and Liam slept. I couldn't let my mind rust, but my heart was rusting. It was a rainy Thursday morning. Henry was driving back from a client meeting, texting me that he would be late for dinner. I was making Liam's lunch when the phone rang. "Mrs. Morgan, this is Officer Taylor. Your husband has been in an accident." Time stopped. I dropped the knife, ignoring the sharp pain as it nicked my finger. I don't remember getting to the hospital. I don't remember who held Liam. All I remember was the sterile smell of the emergency room and the doctor who came out, shaking his head. "He didn't make it, I'm so sorry." I collapsed to the floor. People came, hugged me, told me Henry was a good man. They told me he loved me. They told me he was a provider. I nodded, wearing the black dress, holding Liam's tiny hand, accepting the casseroles and sympathy cards. But deep inside, a small flame was flickering, trying to burn through the ashes of the life I had buried for him. A week after the funeral, I sat alone in the kitchen, the house too quiet, Liam asleep. I opened the drawer where I had hidden my framed master's degree, pulling it out with trembling hands. I looked at it for a long time, tears streaming down my face. "I'm sorry," I whispered to the woman I used to be. "I'm sorry I let him stop you." I called my old supervisor, Dr. Patel. "Isabella," he sounded shocked. "I want to come back," I said, voice shaking. "I don't know how, but I want to come back." There was a pause. "Izzy, it's never too late." Returning wasn't easy. I had to retake licensing exams, update my certifications, and catch up on years of medical advancements. I would wake up at 4 a.m. to study before Liam woke. I would study during his naps. At night, I would watch surgical videos while folding laundry. There were days I wanted to give up. Days when the grief of losing Henry, the guilt of not being enough for him, the exhaustion of single motherhood, and the fear of failure choked me. But I kept going. Because now, there was no one to stop me. It took 2 years. 2 years of relentless studying, rejections, and small wins. Then one morning, I received the email. Congratulations, Dr. Isabella Morgan. We are pleased to offer you the position of attending physician in the Women's Health Unit. I screamed, scaring Liam, who ran to me. I hugged him tight, whispering, Mommy did it. Walking into the hospital with my ID badge clipped to my coat felt like breathing for the first time. The hallways smelled like antiseptic and possibility. Patients called me doctor. Colleagues respected me. I performed my first surgery in years. And as I closed the incision, I felt alive. At night, after long shifts, I would sit by Liam's bed, watching him sleep. And I would think of Henry. I would think of the years I lost. The years I could have spent saving lives, building my career, fulfilling the purpose I knew I was born for. I had allowed him to take that from me. And he wasn't even here anymore to see what I had become. One evening, after putting Liam to bed, I stood in front of the mirror in my scrubs, my stethoscope around my neck. I looked at myself. Why did you let him stop you? I whispered. Tears fell. Because I loved him. Because I thought it was love to let him lead. Because I thought sacrificing my dreams made me a good wife. I realized I was wrong. I wrote a letter to the young Isabella who got married in Blue Flats. Dear Izzy, love should never cost you your dreams. You can be a wife, a mother, and still be yourself. You can love someone and still pursue your calling. Never let anyone, no matter how much you love them, silence your purpose. You are meant for more. It was a quiet Saturday, the kind that made the house feel too big. I decided to clean out Henry's closet, something I had avoided for months. As I folded his shirts, inhaling the fading scent of his cologne, my hands brushed against a small, dusty box tucked behind old winter coats. Curiosity and a strange ache in my chest made me pull it out. Inside there were letters, yellowed with age, tied with a red ribbon. And at the bottom, a photograph of a woman in a crisp navy suit, her hair neatly pinned, standing in front of a hospital. On the back, in shaky handwriting, it read, To Henry, love Mom. I untied the ribbon, the letters crackling as I unfolded them. They were written by Henry's mother to him when he was a teenager. Henry, I'm sorry I couldn't make it to your recital. Henry, I'll be late again tonight. Surgery ran over. Henry, I hope one day you'll understand that I love you, even if I'm not always there. I read each letter, feeling tears pool in my eyes. At the bottom of the box, I found old, brittle papers. Divorce papers, filed when Henry was just 15. His mother had chosen to continue her demanding career, and his father, unable to handle the loneliness, left. I sank to the floor, clutching the papers, the weight of the truth pressing into my chest. Henry wasn't trying to control me. He was trying to protect himself from reliving the pain of his childhood. Suddenly, memories of our early years came flooding back. The way Henry would tense when I pulled on my white coat, the tight smile he gave me when I left for on-call shifts, the quiet arguments late at night. You're never home, Izzy. The patients need me, Henry. What about me? What about our family? Back then, I had rolled my eyes, brushing off his concerns, thinking he was overreacting. Now, I saw the little boy who had been left too many times, begging me silently not to leave him too. I remembered the way Henry would look at me as I packed my books, the tension in his jaw, the fear in his eyes. Why do you need to work? What about the family? Do you really have to take that shift? I had seen it as control, but it was fear. Fear that he would become his father, left behind. Fear that Liam would become him, waiting at the window for a mother who never came home. That night, I sat in the dark, clutching Henry's photograph, whispering into the shadows. Why didn't you tell me? The silence answered back, heavy but forgiving. Why didn't you trust me enough to share this pain with me? A tear rolled down my cheek, landing on the glass of the photo frame. I would have stayed, Henry, but I would have worked too. We could have found a way. I pressed the photo to my chest. I'm sorry, I didn't understand. One Sunday morning, as we sat on the porch eating pancakes, Liam turned to me, his eyes curious. Mommy, why didn't Daddy want you to be a doctor? I froze, my fork pausing midair. I took a deep breath. Daddy loved us very much, Liam. But when he was little, his mommy was a doctor, and she was very busy. It made Daddy feel alone. Liam thought for a moment, his small brows furrowing. But you're a doctor, and I don't feel alone. A sob rose in my throat, and I hugged him tightly. That's because I learned, baby. I learned that I can help people and still love you. That you and my work are both important. He smiled, resting his head on my shoulder. I'm glad you're a doctor, Mommy. And in that moment, a part of me healed. Returning to work was not just about reclaiming my career. It was about rediscovering joy. Joy in the first cry of a baby I delivered. Joy in the relieved smile of a mother I reassured. Joy in teaching young residents the art of compassionate care. I found myself humming in the halls, waving to nurses, staying late not out of obligation but out of purpose. Each day, I felt alive. Each day, I felt Henry's fears loosening their grip on me. That night, after a long shift, I sat down with my journal and wrote, Dear Isabella, you are allowed to dream. You are allowed to love and still chase your calling. You do not have to shrink yourself to make others feel safe. You can be a mother, a wife, and a healer without apology. Love does not require your silence. It is okay to walk in your purpose, even when others are afraid. One day, you will understand that the world needs your light, and it is not selfish to let it shine. With loves, Isabella. In the years that followed, I rose in my career, becoming a department head, then a speaker, an advocate for women in medicine. I started a scholarship in Henry's mother's name for young mothers pursuing medicine, honoring the complexity of her journey while ensuring her legacy became one of hope. Liam grew, watching me balance hospital shifts with soccer games, bedtime stories, and school plays. He never felt abandoned. He felt inspired. I once thought I was honoring love by giving up my dreams. Now I know I honor love best by living fully, showing my son and the world that you can love deeply and still walk in your calling. Understanding Henry's past freed me from anger, but it also taught me fear when left unspoken becomes a prison. Purpose when embraced becomes freedom. I choose freedom. Please like and subscribe for more stories.